What is going on, everybody? Royal Rapids here, and welcome to my first playthrough on the channel of Pokemon Yellow Legacy. This is a new ROM hack made by the YouTuber Smith Plays Pokemon, and it aims to make a much more polished Generation 1 experience. This is, while technically a sequel, it really is a prequel to the original Pokemon Crystal Legacy, which I would love to cover on the channel one day. But since it's relevant, I have decided that I'm going to take on a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Yellow Legacy using only mediocre Pokemon. Now, how did I determine mediocre Pokemon? Smith Plays himself made a live stream tier list of him ranking all the Pokemon in Yellow Legacy, and I have decided that I'm only going to use Pokemon ranked in the B rank or lower. So the B, C, and D rank Pokemon are fair game, while the S, A, and top ranked Pokemon will not be allowed in the challenge. Thankfully, our starter Pikachu is allowed in the challenge, and with its 25% badge boosts, the badge boost glitch should be absolutely busted in the late game. We start getting a spree of encounters, of course getting the usual early game Rattata, while also getting a nice surprise. Since you get early Old Rod, we can pick up a Goldeen before the first gym, which would make Brock much more doable than it usually is in Yellow version. We also bring in a Pidgey and a Caterpie, more early game staples for the Kanto region, before fighting the final Bugcatcher in Viridian Forest, who has a nice surprise. It's very anime relevant as he has a Pinsir, which is absolutely busted for the early game. Thankfully, he just goes for Focus Energy and Harden over and over again, allowing our Pidgey to snipe it off with a few gusts and quick attacks, but that could have got out of hand quickly. Things that won't get out of hand, though, here's the Rock-type Gym Leader, Brock, and thankfully for us, we have a Water-type on our side, which with quad-effective damage should do pretty good work into Brock's Rock and Ground types. Now, Goldeen is trash, which is why I named it trash, but obviously Bubbles do huge damage into Geodude and Onix, who still have bad special despite Onix being buffed, and that gives us an easy, painless first Kanto Gym badge, paving the way to Mount Moon. While grinding up to the next level cap, we get our usual Raticate and Pidgeotto before heading into Mount Moon and picking up a few more encounters. Outside of Mount Moon, we get a Jigglypuff, and inside of Mount Moon, we get a Zubat, giving us 2 eligible encounters, while picking up a Moonstone in the cave, immediately evolving our Jigglypuff into Wigglytuff, because Yellow Legacy did fix it so that Stone Evolutions actually do learn level up moves. I do find that a little bit odd, because I do think it does remove any potential downside of evolving your Stone Evolutions early, but hey, it is what it is, that's the game, and that's how we're going to play it. Next up in Mount Moon, here's the fight against Jesse and James, which I always forget about, because I'm usually a Fire-Red player when it comes to the Kanto region. But Bitey the Raticate is able to completely chew through the Team Rocket squad, earning us an easy sweep and paving the way to Cerulean City. Just outside the city, we pick up an Ekans, which without Intimidate isn't that crazy of an encounter, but still, it's always good to have more fodder in the box. As right before Nugget Bridge, we can take on our good friend, rival number 2. Hyper Fang one-shot Spearow, in comes Rattata, a crit Hyper Fang gets the one-shot, in comes Bellsprout, another crit gets the one-shot. We are on an absolute killing spree with Bitey. Eevee survives, goes for a bite, goes for a quick attack, we survive in the yellow, and one last bite from our resident Bitey Raticate gets the KO on Eevee, earning the right to pave the way to Bill, get the SS ticket, and head down south to Cerulean to take on the second gym leader, that being the Water-type user Misty. Now Misty, just like the anime, leads with Psyduck. We can go for Thunder Punch with Pikachu, which makes quick work of the Duck, bringing in Goldeen, but a second Thunder Punch gets the job done, bringing in her ace Starmie. Now Starmie outspeeds and goes for Swift, but with no crits, Starmie's not going to KO us, and Thunder Punch is the 2-shot, getting us another super painless easy gym badge and paving the way down south to Vermilion. On the way, we pick up a Magnemite and also a Horsey, 2 Pokemon that are actually pretty solid, find themselves in the B rank, I believe, in the Smith Plays tier list of this game. Neither are on the squad yet, as we take on rival number 3 on the SSA, though I paralyze his Raticate before switching into my own Raticate. Since we have the level advantage and stat experience, a Hyper Fang and Bite combo paves the way for Weepinbell, who we take out pretty easily. In comes Eevee. Eevee can do some pretty big damage, but thankfully, we do survive, go for a pound, and rival 3 is no more, as we can head over to the Vermilion gym and take on the Electric-type user, that being Lieutenant Surge. Now, hard mode of Yellow Legacy caps you at level 24, while Surge's Raichu is at level 29, and with access to Body Slam, Surf, and Thunderbolt, this thing can do absolutely huge damage. I gamble on a 55% accurate Sing, which by some miracle actually hits, allowing a free switch into Raticate. And Dig, although it was nerfed to 80 base power, does huge damage into the Raichu. We tank a Surf in the yellow, and one last Dig somehow gets us Deathless through Surge. When I played a Yellow Legacy Hardcore Nuzlocke casually, I lost like 3 or 4 Pokemon to Surge, so getting out Deathless, an absolute miracle. I evolved my Goldeen into Seeking, and also in Rock Tunnel, get ourselves a Ground-type Cubone, and well, heading into Celadon, I can actually buy myself a Magmar, which is allowed on the challenge, one of 3 fire types that was allowed. And it was perfect timing, as well in Celadon, we could take on the Grass-type Specialist, that being the 4th gym leader, Erica. We go for Fire Punch on Tangela, but Tangela goes for Sleep Powder and then starts endlessly trapping us in Bind. Since we outspeed, as long as we wake up, we will eventually hit through Bind, and Tangela is doing very soft damage, but still, Smith Plays did keep in all the Generation 1 quirks of sleep and like trapping moves, so eventually we will wake up. It's going to take a while, but one last Fire Punch downs the Tangela and leaves us in the green. Victory Bell comes in, but we crit the Fire Punch, one-shotting it easily, bringing in Ivysaur, but Ivysaur is too weak, and one more Fire Punch from Magmar gets the KO. In comes Vileplume, who's a lot bulkier, tanks a Fire Punch and goes for Stun Spore. Acid gets a defense drop, and we get fully paralyzed as our bad luck is adding up here. We're forced to switch into Pidgeotto. Unfortunately, the level cap doesn't quite allow us to get Pidgeot, meaning that we're forced to stay in here and try to go for some wing attacks, but Acid gets a defense drop, we stay asleep, and it brings us into the deep red, forcing another switch. This fight is a lot harder than it should be as I bring in Butterfree, but Bug is weak to poison in Generation 1, and Acid does huge damage. I decided to stay in and gamble on a Psychic, and Vileplume spares my life going for Stun Spore, meaning that Butterfree actually does live to see another day miraculously. I bring in Raticate, but since we outspeed, I am able to go for a bite, and Vileplume never gets the Solar Beam off, meaning that although things got dicey, we did get out of Erica's gym deathless, allowing us to get a fully evolved Pidgeot as our prize. Now next up is rival number 4. This fight is usually a complete pushover because of the level cap mechanic. We are 9 levels above his Fearow, but Drill Peck still does pretty big damage as a bite downs it, leading into Magnemite. Now we could have gone for Dig, but we just crit a bite anyways on the misclick and still get the one hit as Kadabra follows the same fate. And comes Shellder. Shellder, not that good. Aurora Beam doesn't get the attack drop, and one last bite takes it out, leading into Flareon. But I misclick and go for Bite. Dig would have got the one hit. I thought I outsped, but Flareon has quick attack, and we get our first death of the run. It is fitting lore-wise to have our first death be a Raticate in Pokemon Tower, if you know your lore. Still really annoying. I mean, Raticate was falling off a little bit, but still, I didn't want to lose a team member like that. Unfortunately, we did. I bring in Club the Marowak, also fitting to bring it in Pokemon Tower, and I whiff a Pinsir encounter in the Safari Zone. Still, without further ado, we gotta plug on, and it's time to take on the 5th gym leader, that being the Poison-type user Koga. He leads with Golbat, and I unfortunately do bring in Marowak here, who can't do any damage with his Ground-type moves, obviously. But I can plug away with Headbutts, tank Soft Bites, and despite confusion, we are able to snap through a couple times, getting the KO on Golbat, and bringing in Koga's second Pokemon, that being the Mono Poison Muck. Now, Mega Drain does pretty big damage. We do hit a Bone Meringue, which gets the one-shot, and brings Koga down 2 team members, bringing his third, that being the Water and Poison-type Tentacruel. Now, Tentacruel has ridiculous special in Generation 1, I want to say like 120, so there's no guarantee Pikachu's Thunderbolt would have even got the one-shot. I bring in Trash the Seeking, and unfortunately it lives up to its namesake. We do actually survive an attack and do some shit with Drill Peck, but since we get Poison, that spells the end for Seeking, giving us our second death of the run. We have other Water types in the box, and Seeking, not particularly useful. It sacked itself, does some chip, and allows Butterfree to come in and go for a Sleep Powder. Now, since this is Generation 1 sleep mechanics, it literally lasts forever. Tentacruel wakes up, can't attack because it's Generation 1, and a second Psychic polishes it off, leading into Venomoth. But since I don't have a safe switch here, I let Venomoth polish off its fellow bug type, giving us a free switch into Magmar. Now, Venomoth goes for Toxic, but it won't really matter, as Flamethrower brings it into the red, goes for Psychic, does chip damage, and one last Flamethrower gives us badge number 5. That fight was dicey, we lost some Pokemon, but they weren't the most useful Pokemon in the world, and we get past Koga, raising the level cap and allowing us to bring on some new team members, one of them being Fake Dragon the Seadra, who is going to be absolutely clutch in the late game, as you'll see, and the other one being Slasher the Kabutops, who, without further ado, is going to get some pretty good use real soon. In Pokemon Mansion, we bring in our good friend Grimer, since Muck is an eligible encounter in this game, but it won't be seeing a lot of play, unfortunately, although I do kind of like Muck. And one thing I have decided to do in this run is that I chose to take on Blaine before Sabrina. Now, although we are level capped at 50 and Blaine's cap is 53, I do believe that with access to Swords Dance on Kabutops and Rock Slide, thanks to the Badge Boost glitch, we will outspeed all of his Pokemon, and we can get ourselves a super clutch Badge Boost for Special. Now, Rival number 5 is one of the hardest fights in the game, and I wanted this special Badge Boost beforehand because it'll actually asymmetrically help Pikachu, as he'll get 25% more Special, which is actually super clutch. Overall, like I said, it'll help us get this Badge Boost here. We completely swept him with Slasher the Kabutops, and now we can finally head to Silph Company and take on Rival number 5 with 6 badges in tow. It doesn't actually affect our level cap at all because Sabrina will still have the same cap, I believe. But still, doesn't matter. Here's Rival number 5, and we lead with our good friend Seadra against Electabuzz, which is really stupid. But I can switch into Club, the Marowak, tank a Psychic, get the special drop. It doesn't really matter. We Generation 1 miss on Earthquake, though, and then Electabuzz gets a critical hit Psychic. We even out the luck with a critical hit of our own, but still. Special drop into Gen 1 miss into critical hit is absolutely ridiculous. But hey, that's the kind of content you come here to watch, clearly. We were going to Cloyster on a Surf, but Cloyster has bad special, and a single Thunderbolt zaps it out of the sky as Dodrio follows the same fate. That special badge boost putting in some work here as Alakazam comes in. Now, Alakazam, we could probably do big damage with a Headbutt, but I decided to go into Pidgeot, who tanks the Psychic in the green, thankfully. And Fly, 70 base power, 100% accuracy here in Yellow Legacy, does pretty big damage. We tank a Tri-Attack, which it goes for absolutely no reason, and a Quick Attack polishes off one of the best Pokemon in Gen 1. In comes Flareon, but we crit a Fly. And thanks to our special badge boost and also huge level advantage. Rival 5, not that bad. Now, Jesse and James, always a pushover in the base games. We have a 10 level advantage on them. Let's see how it goes here. I go for agility to badge boost my special a little bit, but Wheezing obviously outdoes me and goes for amnesia, which gives it a +2 boost to special. It starts just spamming smokescreen, which is really annoying, but as long as we can hit one, it shouldn't be a problem. And thankfully we do, downing the poison ball, bringing in their next Pokemon, that being the normal type Lickitung. But with -3 accuracy, I obviously switch out here, going into Pidgeot. It goes for a Screech, which should slightly badge boost my attack, but it also boosts its own defense with Defense Curl. I go for Fly again, and the critical hit downs the Lickitung, bringing in Arbok. Now, Arbok, not that crazy of a Pokemon. We almost get the one-shot. With Fly, we don't, and even though we're paralyzed, we break through and hit a quick attack, downing the Poison Snake, bringing in Meowth. But obviously, Meowth, unevolved Pokemon this late in the game, goodbye. I go for Fly on Victory Bell, but we flinch, and with minus defense, it's not safe to stay in. So I just bring in Magmar. We go for a Flamethrower, and it gets the one hit. So, Rival 5 down, Jesse and James down. Now to finish out Silph, let's see how the fight against Giovanni goes. The Rocket plotline nearly coming to an end. He leads with Kingler, we lead with Fake Dragon, the Seadra. I go for Slam, gets a critical hit. It's a Dragon type in this game, which is interesting. In comes Kangaskhan, I go for Surf. It doesn't have the best special in the world. And our 9 level advantage secures the one hit. Machoke, same story, goodbye. In comes Golem, what do you think's going to happen? Drowned by Surf. And last but not least is his ace, the mono normal type Persian. Now Persian could do big damage, but it goes for Slash, obviously doesn't get the KO, and one last Aurora Beam gets the job done, finishing off the Rocket plotline and paving the way for us to take on the usual 6th gym leader, but 7th in this challenge, that being the Psychic type user Sabrina. She still leads with Abra, which I think is kind of stupid, allowing us to get off a free Swords Dance. And thanks to the speed boost from the badge boost glitch, we get outspeed and one-shot all of our remaining Pokemon. Cut is a bug-type move in this game, and it's effectively like base like 110 power. I think it's 55 with a super effective boost, it'll be 110. And since we outspeed and have +2 attack, that is the second sweep for Slasher the Kabutops, who has been probably the best Pokemon I've ever used in one of these challenge runs. This thing has been absolutely smoking the competition, especially in boss battles. And cue the clown music, here he is, it's Clown Giovanni, the 8th and final gym leader. Dugtrio, if you're outspeeding a Dugtrio, it's never good news for them. In comes Nidoqueen, we go for Surf. What do you think's gonna happen? Goodbye! Next up, let's see who it is, it's Persian. Now Persian probably will survive, we go for Surf, and it doesn't, we crit. And that was his one chance. Nidoking, goodbye. Last but not least is Rhydon, and what do you think's gonna happen? Rock and ground type, slow as dirt, goodbye. Giovanni. Doesn't matter. Red, yellow, blue, Japanese green, Japanese blue, fire red, leaf green, even yellow legacy. This guy is an absolute clown, and he gets clowned on once again by any halfway decent water type. This fight, though, I don't think is going to be a clown fest. This rival number 6, aka the champion preview battle. We can safely out-level him due to the level cap mechanics, but his Pokemon are pretty good. We get brought down pretty low after a Double Edge from his Fearow, as I like to switch, bring in my own Pidgeot. But Double Edge does pretty big damage before we can finish it off with a Wing Attack. Still, we're in pretty good standing here. Magneton comes in. Obviously, I'm going to switch. I don't really know who to go into because Magneton is really good special. I bring in Pikachu on a Tri-Attack, which is very minimal damage but gets the burn. And I tended to go for Headbutt here, so hitting the burn forces yet another switch, and I don't really know what to do. I bring in Fuego on a Thunderbolt. Thankfully, we dodge the Paralysis. Flamethrower does not get the one hit. A second Thunderbolt also dodges the Paralysis, and a second Flamethrower downs the pile of magnets, bringing in Golduck. Now, obviously, I have to switch here. I go into Fake Dragon the Seadra, who tanks the Psychic. But we get a special drop, which is really annoying. We can follow up Psychics, will do more damage. The second one leaves us in the green, thankfully, but Slams are not doing a whole lot of damage. We get brought down into the yellow, but thankfully one last Slam downs the Golduck, bringing in Alakazam. Now, Alakazam, really good in Generation 1. I switch in Pidgeot, but it crits a Psychic, giving us our 4th death of the run. Pidgeot had actually been really good in this run, and I was really sad to lose it this late, but we got the free switch. I can bring in Slasher, and I go for Rock Slide. Should have went for Cut for the accuracy, but doesn't matter. One hit. In comes Marowak. Marowak, not really that good. I go for Slash. It's a guaranteed crit. Rock Slide does like 2 damage, and one last Slash gets the KO on Marowak, leaving just Flareon. But we have super effective Rock Slide. We miss, and then I have a bit of a dilemma here. I can't switch into any of my remaining Pokemon because they'll just be KO'd by the dig, meaning I'm just forced to gamble on Slasher surviving. Now, I don't really know Kabutops' stats off the top of my head because I've literally never used one before this run, and I also don't know if Smith Plays changed its stats around. So I stay in, pray for the best, and Dig does like 2 damage, meaning that one last Slash gets the KO on Flareon and gets us out of rival number 6 with only 1 death. Annoying, but it is what it is. I replaced Pidgeot with Kiwi, the Golbat from way on early in the run from Mount Moon, and without further ado, our squad of Pikachu, Marowak, Seadra, Golbat, Magmar, and Kabutops. Does it have what it takes to take on the Elite Four of Yellow Legacy, or will we come up short in this mediocrity one? without further ado, let's find out as we take on what is usually the hardest Elite Four member in my opinion, that being the Water and Ice type trainer Lorelei. Let's go! In this game, Lorelei leads with Slowbro, but Pikachu with the 9 level advantage and the 25% badge boost zaps it with a single Thunderbolt. In comes Cloyster. What do you think is going to happen? It's a poor special defense. Bye, Valve. Goodbye. In comes Dugong. I go for an Agility because I knew I couldn't one-shot, and Dugong thankfully just misses a Blizzard, allowing a boosted Thunderbolt to get the KO. In comes Jinx. It has way worse defense than Special, but since my Special is boosted, I decided to go for 2 Thunderbolts, taking a weak Psychic in the process, leaving just Lapras. But obviously, a critical hit Thunderbolt zaps it and gets us an easy Pikachu sweep over Lorelei, downing what is usually the hardest Elite Four member in my opinion. Next up is Bruno. Bruno, not that good in Generation 1, but he was buffed here on Yellow Legacy. He leads with Hitmonchan, which actually has 110 special and Yellow Legacy, but it goes for Submission for some reason instead. You figured he'd want to use the punches, but kind of a poor moveset design here. Whatever, a couple slams get the job done, bringing in Poliwrath. Now, we go to switch into Pikachu on the Switch, and Poliwrath misses a Hypnosis, which has like 2 accuracy when used by the AI in early generations, and a single Thunderbolt ends its life. And in comes Hitmonlee, who still has bad special, but Thunderbolt doesn't get the KO, meaning a high jump kick nearly KOs, whatever if it crits. But thankfully it did not, and a Headbutt downs it in 1 hit, bringing in Onix, who still sucks, allowing a quad-effective Surf to completely wipe it off the face of the earth, leaving just Machamp. Machamp, not that good. We switch in KV, Body Slam does not paralyze, and we can go for Fly, misses a Body Slam, and we get the KO thanks to our big level advantage. Down goes Bruno, and we're still deathless headed into Agatha, who can also be pretty difficult, but her team is a little bit changed around here. We'll see how it goes. First up, Gengar. We bring in Club the Marowak, and it goes for Nightshade, which is 80 base power in this game. A crit leaves us low, but a single Earthquake completely wipes out Gengar due to its poor defenses, bringing in Golbat. And we don't have anything really that good for Golbat, so I'd elect to switch as I bring in Fake Dragon the Seadra. Golbat goes for an annoying double team, but we gamble on an Ice Beam, hit it, and get the 1-hit KO. In comes Marowak, obviously gets drowned by a Surf. A fitting Pokemon for Agatha here to give her a little team diversity as Arbok comes in. We go for Surf, and it gets the 1-hit due to its not that great special, leaving just Gengar. I decided to stay in, go for Surf, it does over half. Nightshade also does over half, but since we outspeed, one last Surf gets us another deathless victory, as Fake Dragon the Seadra continues its absolute dominance here over the late game. And with Lance coming up, I'm not so sure that's going to stop. Here we go, the final Elite Four member, the Dragon-type trainer Lance. He leads with Dragonite. But we have Ice Beam, we outspeed, that's a quick one-shot. In comes Gyarados. I like the switch here, obviously, as we have our Electric-type Pikachu in the back. Now, with base 100 special, I'm not sure how much Thunderbolt's going to do. We take a Surf in the yellow, and Thunderbolt, without further ado, gets the 1-hit. Next up is Charizard. I realize it has absolutely nothing that can hurt Seadra, so I switch back into our resident water type, tanking a relatively soft wing attack on the switch and drowning it with a single 95 base power stab Surf. In comes Aerodactyl, who is going to outspeed, but just does like 2 damage with wing attack and gets drowned by Surf, leaving this his final pseudo-legendary, that being his ace Dragonite. But we outspeed, quad-effective Ice Beam, goodbye Dragonite, and Seadra completely obliterates Lance, meaning that we have a full team of 6 to take on our rival in the champion fight. Can we do it? Red versus Blue, Championship of Kanto here in Yellow Legacy. Will I complete the Nuzlocke? Will I beat the fraud allegations? Let's find out here in the champion fight, as it all comes down to this. Blue leads with Magneton, we lead with Marowak, I go for Earthquake, and we get the 1-hit, giving us an early 6-5 advantage. In comes Dodrio, so I go for Ice Beam. It goes for a double team, we hit the Ice Beam, and we get the 1-shot, which is surprising. I did not expect that. In comes Alakazam. I stay in, try to go for Earthquake. It does pretty good damage, getting the 1-hit, meaning that we're on a 6-3 advantage as Club the Marowak is completely sweeping. Ice Beam gets a 4th 1-hit, meaning that we have a huge advantage now as Cloyster comes in. I switch in Pikachu on the switch, and it goes for Explosion, which is really annoying, giving us a death. Still, it doesn't matter. We have a 5-1 advantage as just Flareon remains. Annoying to lose Pikachu this late. It ain't that big of a deal, though. We go for Surf with Fake Dragon, and one final Surf from the late-game MVP makes us the champion of Kanto. That was a super anticlimactic champion fight as we completely destroyed him. We did unfortunately get a loss due to Explosion on the switch, but whatever, it didn't matter. We had a 5-1 advantage. Got a free switch, and Fake Dragon cleaned up with one final Surf. Seadra, absolute monster. Kabutops, absolute monster. Marowak, champion monster. It swept his first 4 Pokemon effectively. And overall, I super enjoyed Pokemon Yellow Legacy. Shout out to Smith Plays and his team for making this game. It was very, very fun to play. I had a lot of fun with it, and I would love to do more challenges on it in the future. If you guys enjoyed this game, let me know in the comments below. I'd be down to do more mono-type challenges, more, I don't know, maybe some solo runs of this game. It was super fun. And also, if you want to see me play Crystal Legacy, let me know as well. I like Pokemon Crystal. I mean, it's not my favorite game in the series, but I like Crystal Legacy when I played it casually. And if you want to see me do another similar, mediocrity run on that game, let me know. I'd love to play it. If you'd like other things as well, let me know in the comments below. I want to start making more videos now that it's summertime. I have more time. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say here in this outro, so just thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in whatever comes next. Glad you enjoyed. Goodbye.